Hello, friends. I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's fantastic. Everything here is good. I got my tabletop all finished yesterday. Well, I mean, it's together. The skins are on it, and it's kind of sitting over there. Now it's sitting on the router table because I don't have a place for it yet. I need to build a base. And I was hoping to find a piece of masonite or hardboard to put on top, like to finish it. And I told M's dad, and he said he's got some stuff at work. And last night he texted me a picture of like 1/4 inch thick plastic. So my new workbench is going to have a plastic top, and I'm excited about that. Excited about having a glue resistant surface. This MDF has been treated with 3-4 coats of shellac, and so it handles glue pretty well. But anyway, I'm excited to have this out of my way. I think I've talked about this before, but I have this really kind of bad habit of just accepting things as the way they are. And this table is an example of that. I built this table before I had the show, before I had this miter saw bench, before I had the big table saw, the router table. I maybe had this drill press. I don't think I did. I think I had this bench and then I built this. And so before all the rest of this happened, I had the space to maneuver around a cool work table like this. It was a little bit smaller because I had an oak top on it that had a huge crown in it. It kind of wasn't useful for doing the kind of woodworking that I'm doing now. But at the time, just pocket holing stuff together, it was fine. And I wanted it on wheels so I could wheel it out into the driveway and do work out there. I think at that time when I built this, we were still parking my ex's car in here so I could wheel it up against the wall. I didn't have most of this shop. So this work table was perfect for that. It meant I could work on something big, I could walk all around it, I could do all kinds of stuff. I put this top on it a few years ago when I decided I wanted to do more furniture style woodworking, and I just did, and then I just kind of lived with it for all this time. And that's a problem that I have. Like, I just accept things, and I think that's honestly a problem of humans, is our ability to adapt and just accept. You know, the people who live in squalor, voluntarily, I should say, live in squalor, just accept life the way it is for them, and that's okay. And I'm one of those people. It's just terrible. And so I don't ever really critically look at my space and go, how can I improve efficiency in here? Can I make my time down here better? And the problem with that is, it makes it difficult for me to want to be down here, right? Like, any roadblock, this gigantic table in my way, knowing that I have to cut a sheet of plywood on a table saw that's 2 feet away from this giant table that's taller than the table saw, like, it's really frustrating when I want to do something and I know that I've got roadblocks, and then I end up just, my brain goes, it's not worth the hassle, I just won't do it. So I'll just skip whatever it was I was hoping to do. And I need to really stop doing that. I need to really think more critically about my spaces and, be more thoughtful. Put more effort into getting things out of my way. This is a two compartment salt cellar I'm working on. I've been cooking a decent amount with MSG lately. And I don't like shakers when I'm cooking, because if you've ever used like a salt shaker over a pot of something hot, you just end up getting this crust of salt from the steam sticking to it, and in MSG it's even worse. So I thought I would make a 2-compartment salt cellar with MSG on one side and kosher salt or rock salt on the other side. And I thought about this, and I thought about this, and I thought about this I was thinking I was going to take a solid block of maple. This maple is 2-inch thick, and I was going to drill some holes in it and use those as, but I don't have a bit big enough. And then I thought I'll use this to learn dovetails. I've never really done dovetails. I've attempted, but I've never really tried to do a project with dovetails. I thought I'll do dovetails, I'll do whatever. I came down here looking for a 1/2 inch stock because I didn't want it to be too thick. And yesterday I just said, you know what, I'm just going to grab what I've got. I'm going to glue it together. So I did that. I milled up some 1/2 inch strips of maple. I found a couple of slightly bigger than 1/2 inch strips of walnut. I glued them together, and then I drilled and put dowels in it, more for decoration than anything, but it might help hold things together. And I'm going to cut those off and flatten this top, flatten this bottom, glue a piece of walnut on the bottom, and make a top. And bam, I've got a salt cellar. And it's one of those things that the roadblock was, how am I going to make this thing? And I overthought it to the point that it was never going to get made until I just decided to come down here and frickin' do it. And it's the same thing with this table. It's the same thing with stuff that's under my bench. I've always wanted to build a cabinet down there. There's just a long void that could be useful. The drawers that I put the sander, the buffer in, the polisher that I made not too long ago, that part of the bench sat empty forever because I just accepted it. Like, it is what it is. Instead of making space, taking the time to make the space, taking the time to organize and put things in a place and make sure that the place that I put them was both functional and convenient for their use, it's just something I've never really done. I've just accepted things and moved on. And I think that, to some degree, that's okay. It's okay to just be like, well, that's how it is, and I have to move through that. But in a lot of places like this, if the reason that I've not done a project, if the reason that I haven't started my salt cellar is because I don't know how to do it in the space that I have provided, or knowing that I have to come down here and do a bunch of cleanup, or I have to do a bunch of ancillary work to get to the point of doing this, I just won't. I'll just be like, it's not worth the effort. And so what I'm learning, I'll tell you more roadblocks in this whole process, is when I come down here, right now it's winter time. So it's like 50 something degrees in here, probably 56, 57. It's pretty damn chilly. I'm fine right now with a long sleeve shirt and all that sort of stuff on. But to come down here and work, I've got my joggers on. I have to first put on my workshop pants. Those are in my bedroom. Then I come down here, I take this hoodie thing off, and I put on a sweater or an overshirt, or it's more like a sweatshirt. And then I put my apron on, and I put my hat on, and I turn this little heater on, little like space heater. It's a whole like ordeal, right? It's like, and a lot of times, so working on this, knowing that it's only going to take me, so say I glued these pieces together yesterday, clamped it, let it sit for like 2-3 hours, then I came down and drilled and doweled these. Knowing that in order to come down and drill and dowel these, I have to go through this whole routine. Put this on, come downstairs, change my shoes. I have workshop shoes so I don't track dust everywhere. Put my sweater on, put my thing on, turn the thing, it's like, and so I'll save up and I'll say, all right, I'm making that. I've already got the whole thing on, the whole apparatus. I've done all the steps I need to do to prep the shop, to prep myself to do the work. Might as well start on a little project. I think that if I had a space that was heated and that I didn't need to worry about dust, if I had better dust extraction and I didn't have to put on extra layers of clothing or whatever, I would, or if I knew that I could spend a few hours in here, I would be much more inclined to come down here and do something. But when I want to come down here and do something small and I have to spend even the 5 minutes it takes to do all those steps, put the pants on, put the sweater on, put the thing on, change my shoes, put my hat on, that 5 minutes is like enough of a roadblock that I'll just go, it's not worth it. I'll just wait until I've got a bigger project and then I can do this on the side. I don't like that about me. I don't like that I let little roadblocks get in the way. They shouldn't, It was the same thing on my motorcycle. When I got that bike, I hadn't ridden in like 5 years. I went without a motorcycle for about 5 years of my life, and I didn't like it. And so when I got that bike, I often wouldn't ride it to work. because it was too much of a hassle to come down. I had to move my car out of the way. I had to get my jacket on. I had to get my pants on. I had to, put the gloves on, get the helmet. And it was just like, I'll just get in the car and go. And then one time when I didn't have my car for a while, like a year, I went about 10 months without a car. I had to ride it. It just became like, that's fine. And now, it's no big deal. I can jump on that bike and go 3 miles down the road, get whatever it was I was doing, and come back, and that roadblock is gone for me. Yes, I still put on the jacket, I still put on the helmet, I still put on the pants. I do the thing, but it's no longer like, I'll just take the car, right? And so I have to figure out how to get there with the workshop space. And I think doing things like getting this table out of my way is a big help, because I'm much more likely to say, all right, I can do this. I got a half an hour, I'll go spend a half an hour doing something, instead of saying, if I knew I had an hour's worth of work, I would put in the effort. That's weird. I don't know. I don't know if there's a point to all of that. I just know I need to make this a more welcoming space so that I'll feel more like coming down to do little things. Yeah. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know sounds smart is penitent. It is an adjective meaning feeling sorry and regretful that you have done something wrong. According to Ambrose Bierce's jaded view, the penitent are typically those undergoing or awaiting punishment. Penitent, P-E-N-I-T-E-N-T. Does that carry a religious tone? Do you have to have penance, or is that also abide by like legal terms or whatever? It feels like a religious word to me, is why I'm asking.